Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So this video is a personal reflection of what I've learned from the past 4 months after my national service. Basically some of my key takeaways from the past 4 months working at Red Dot Photo as well as being a barista. So it has been a pretty busy and fulfilling 4 months ever since I ORD'd last year November. And since then, I've been doing a couple of things like taking up jobs as well as trying out new things. Most of my time is actually spent on my 2 jobs. The first being my full-time job as a sales and marketing assistant at Red Dot Photo, and the second being a part-time barista at Starbucks. And the remaining time is actually spent on YouTube as well as resting and catching up with friends. So throughout these 4 months, I actually learned a couple of things, and basically this video is a summary of what I've learned. So before I actually dive into the 3 things that I actually learned throughout this 4 months period, one of the most common questions that I got from my friends is that, why am I actually working 2 jobs? Should I be actually resting as well as enjoying life before university starts? To be very honest, that was the original plan. I planned to actually spend the 10 months before university to travel as well as to do tuition, just to support the travelling. However, travelling is not very possible, thus I have to actually change my plans. And as mentioned earlier in one of my previous videos, I really value this block of time that I have before university starts. And it's a block of time that you can actually really do what you want and do things that really matter to you. Thus, I jam-pack as many activities as I can within this short 4 months. So this leads me to my first lesson learned, which is about over-promising as well as over-commitment. So despite myself trying very hard to actually schedule things nicely, like for example, I plan such that my working area like Red Dot Photo is near my Starbucks area, and that's actually on the way back home. So I thought by arranging things nicely, I can actually commit the hours and then go for 2 jobs without any issues. But of course, time is limited and it's impossible for me to work non-stop without any consequence. Because of my inability to actually schedule my hours properly, I was unable to actually commit the full hours as a part-timer in Starbucks. So as mentioned in my other video, the minimum hours you're supposed to commit is actually 16 hours. However, I only managed to commit about 10 hours a week. I was very fortunate that my store manager actually understood my situation, and then he was really nice about it. It was clearly my fault, but he was actually quite okay and he actually allowed me to just commit the 9 hours or 10 hours a week instead of the usual 16 hours. However, the point here is that you must know your limits and it's better not to actually overcommit or overpromise. Because the problem is that since I'm only working 10 hours a week, someone has to work the remaining balance of 6 hours. So because of someone's irresponsibility, someone else has to actually do more because of you. So in the future, I think it's important to actually know your limits and don't overcommit to something. So the second takeaway from these past 4 months is actually the importance of accumulating different experience as well as to try different things. Because I feel that often we always tend to choose things that are more practical and more pragmatic in nature. For example, some of my friends actually ask me why am I actually working as a barista? Or why am I actually working as a sales and marketing assistant at Red Dot Photo? These are fields that are actually irrelevant to me in the future. So in university, I'll be actually studying computer science, and these 2 fields being a barista is F&B, as well as doing Red Dot Photo, the sales and marketing assistant. These 2 fields are not very relevant to computer science. So in some ways, they won't actually benefit me in the future. And on top of it, they don't exactly offer the highest salary. For example, I get paid about $8 per hour working at Red Dot Photo and about $7.50 working at Starbucks. So why am I actually still going after these 2 different experiences? I would say it's because of the hidden benefits of these different experiences, and then in some sense it's actually a practical way of thinking it. I mean, of course, I can just answer this question by saying that I like doing these 2 jobs. I really enjoy being a sales and marketing assistant as well as enjoy my time as a barista. However, I do feel that there are practical benefits beyond just this idea of having fun. So Steve Jobs once mentioned that creativity and inspiration is just about connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel a little guilty because they didn't really do it. They just saw something and it seemed obvious to them after a while. And the reason why they are able to do this is because they have had more experience than others. Experiences are like dots, and they are able to connect the dots from the past to the present. For example, Steve Jobs himself took up calligraphy in Reed College years before Apple came out. This was actually when he learned about serif as well as sans serif typeface. And later on in his life, when he was actually developing the Mac computers, he actually integrated this aspect of design, this aspect of calligraphy into the Mac. And that was actually one of the components that made Mac special, because of the way he actually humanized it by trying to incorporate some sort of design as well as to make it a bit more user-friendly. So experience as well as experimenting new things actually create the dots for you to connect. And if you're doing a lot of things that are actually in the same field, you're actually not really creating new dots, you're creating similar dots. And it's the connecting of dots that actually gives rise to inspiration, ideas, or that spark. But it's not easy, it's kind of counterintuitive. For example, since I'm studying computer science in the future, it makes more sense for me to actually spend this time learning more about coding as well as programming. It made more sense for me to actually go after internships that are about data science or business analytics. Because these are skill sets that I'll actually pick up in the future, and then having exposure in this field will actually benefit me in the future. Like, in a way, this is right. But as Steve Jobs said during his 2005 Stanford speech,
it was impossible to connect the dots looking forward when I was in college, but it was very, very clear looking backwards 10 years later.
So I'm not sure if the dots are actually forming, but I feel that after I joined Red Dot Photo, this actually contributed to me starting this whole YouTube thing. Because after seeing countless studio setups, as well as being exposed to the technical aspect of lighting, audio, as well as cameras, the technical difficulties as well as aspects of videography became less foreign and then more familiar. And then in some ways, this actually reduced the friction to actually start a YouTube channel. Because I actually have fewer excuses to actually start one. And then joining Starbucks actually gave me the content to actually kickstart this whole YouTube thing. Perhaps it's just a coincidence, but ultimately I feel that it's important for us to actually accumulate different experience. So the last and perhaps the most important thing I learned is actually finding out your ideal lifestyle. The importance of actually finding a lifestyle that keeps you motivated and then chasing fulfillment. So working 9 to 5 for the past 4 months actually made me question myself, is this my ideal lifestyle? Will I enjoy my life if I'm actually having this lifestyle for the next 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years? I actually realized how mundane and how routine this lifestyle can actually get. Because every day you're actually taking the same train to home, same train to work, your daily commute is basically the same. I still remember a week ago when I was in the train back home. So I chose not to use my phone that day and tried to observe my surroundings. So I saw many working adults looking very tired and then looking at their phone or listening to music. And this whole scene is kind of depressing because basically these working adults will then go to the same train the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. Of course some actually enjoy it, but I feel that for the bulk of them, they don't exactly enjoy it. This lifestyle is actually more bearable than actually enjoyable. Of course I'm not trying to say that the ideal lifestyle is not going the 9 to 5 work and then just traveling the world and then enjoying life. I mean, ideally that is probably everyone's lifestyle. But at the very least, I experience this lifestyle and know that maybe this sales and marketing lifestyle isn't suited for me. And then hopefully this experience will then aid me in making better decisions as well as judgment when choosing my next job. I think the important thing here is that finding the correct lifestyle that you actually like. I think a lifestyle can be routine, but the point here is that the lifestyle shouldn't be mundane and it should be something more exciting. Something you actually look forward to and something that actually motivates you to keep on going. So these are my 3 main takeaways for the past 4 months. And this actually also marks my end of working at Red Dot Photo. There are about 5 months left before university actually starts. And I have a couple of projects that I'm actually working in. I'm actually excited to share in the future. So do share your thoughts on what you value in and perhaps what you think about this whole experiencing and collecting your dots. And I hope to see you in the next video.